I'd like to call this meeting to order, the September 25th, 2018 meeting of the Miami Township, Montgomery County Board of Trustees. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Morris?
Here.
Mr. Berry?
Here.
Mr. Culp?
Aye. Here.
I'd like to thank everyone for being here. We have a couple presentations, and I'd like to recognize some special guests here representing the Ohio State Highway Patrol, Lieutenant Colonel Fambro, Major Swindell, Lieutenant Albers, and Lieutenant Nichols. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here and the work that you do protecting us at the Ohio State Highway Patrol. We start every meeting after recognition of guests with the reading of casualties. Mr. Berry.
We didn't have any, did we?
That's good. Captain Johnson.
Police Officer David Tinsley, 50, Fort Wayne Police Department, Indiana, end of watch September 10th, 2018. Police Officer Garrett Hall, 40, Fort Worth Police Department, Texas, end of watch September 14th, 2018. Chief Frank McClellan Jr., 69, Lawassie Police Department, Georgia, end of watch September 15th, 2018. Deputy Sheriff Robert Coons III, 41, Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office, Kansas, end of watch September 16th, 2018. And Deputy Mark V. Stasic, 27, Sacramento County Sheriff's Office, California, end of watch September 17th, 2018.
Thank you. Would please everyone recognize a moment of silence. Thank you. I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
That will move into new business, department reports.
Thank you, Mr. President. You move down here. Tonight we have the pleasure to swear in a new officer with the Miami Township Police Department, Charlie Stiegelmeyer. He is our new captain. Charlie, if I could have you come up here. Charlie is a 35-year veteran with over 23 years of police management. He has held the position of Road Patrol Sergeant, Detective Sergeant, Lieutenant overseeing Patrol, Detective Bureaus, Assistant Chief, former Chief, Multi-Jurisdictional Task Force Commander, Special Agent with the Bureau of Criminal Investigations in Ohio, and the Director of the Tactical Crime Suppression Unit, which is based here in southwestern Montgomery County. His training is extensive. He has helped through Ohio Chiefs of Police, CLE, the Southern Police Institute, and the United States Department of Justice Drug Unit Commanders Academy. Charlie holds his Bachelor's of Science through University of Phoenix and his master's degree through the University of Cincinnati. Some of the awards Charlie has had over the years is the 2014 Teamwork Award through the Bureau of Criminal Investigations, the 1999 National Narcotics Agent of the Year Award through the National Drug Officers Association, the 1999 Special Agent of the Year through Ohio BCI, and the 1994 Officer of the Year through Powell, Ohio. I am pleased that Charlie is coming. Charlie will be replacing Captain Johnson, who's decided to retire, and we'll have a little presentation for him here in a second. So if you can call your wife up, and there it is. Mr. Newell is going to administer your oath of office. You guys want to stand up there or should I?
If you want to come around front, if you want to video it, you can come around front if you want, in front of them. Come around there.
Hereby swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will Township of Montgomery County, Ohio.
And that I will faithfully,
That I will faithfully,
honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties
of my position
of my position
as police captain for Miami Township.
as police captain for Miami Township.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Make sure you draw blood.
Sir Chance. Yeah, 20 years.
You're not going to get away without saying something.
Chief, thank you. For those that know me know that I'm never lost for words. It's a true honor. I'm very humbled. I've had a long career. I've done a lot in this job. I want to thank my friends, family, and colleagues. Russ, you're some shoes I won't be able to fill. You've been a good mentor. I've had to learn 4 years and 3 days. Russ, thank you. You've left a great foundation for me to work with, and it's going to be an honor to follow in your footsteps. I want to thank the board and everybody at the township for putting your faith in me to discharge this duty as a captain. I won't let you down, and I will make you proud, promise. So with that, I am at a loss for words, so thank you all very much. Thank you for coming.
If I could have Captain Johnson come up here, please. And if I could have his wife come up here. Did you see her come in? We had a little reception downstairs, and the message did not get to Karen soon enough for her to make that. Thank you, Josh. As I mentioned downstairs, I've known Russ since late 1978. Our academy paths crossed at the Ohio State Highway Patrol Academy. Hush, Josh. We have stayed friends ever since. And I actually knew Karen when she worked in Miamisburg Municipal Court. So again, just the intertwine. I have made the comment, and again, this was a secret, because I knew when Russ left State Patrol, he didn't want to have a party, he didn't want to have anything. He wanted to go out on his way. Well, I was damn sure it's going to go out on my way this time. So my comment was, what's he going to do, quit on me? So I just want to present a few things. We are not where we are now if it wouldn't have been for this man. He keeps on giving credit to everybody else, but the credit is his. And just by the command staff from Columbus that come down here that used to work for him, this speaks volumes of his character. So on behalf of Miami Township, we are going to present you with your firearm. And I didn't bring it up here, but we have a display box for you. This weapon was carried by Captain Russell N. Johnson during his years of dedicated, faithful service to the citizens of Miami Township and the Miami Township Police Department. And I want to present you with that.
Thank you, Chief.
I want to present you with some credentials from Miami Township.
Thank you.
I want to present you from the Ohio Attorney General, Mike DeWine. Congratulations on your successful career with the Ohio State Highway Patrol and the Miami Township Police Department. Thank you for your public service, and we wish you the very best in your future endeavors. From Attorney General Mike DeWine.
Thank you.
And then a service award from us. That's why I had you come up. To Captain Russell Johnson, sincere appreciation for your service to the department through the years of your service here, 4 years. You have earned the respect and admiration of all members of our department. And those words alone can't be more true with you. So, Russ, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming and helping us. And I'm going to open it up to you.
Oh, wow, wow. Thank you, Chief. Well, and board and friends, peers, and of course my lovely wife. It's just been a privilege to be a part. You know, when I came back, thoroughly enjoyed my career with the Highway Patrol. It was very good to me and my family. Very appreciative of that. And here at the Township, had an opportunity to be part of something worthwhile. And that just makes you feel good to be a part of that and to be surrounded by excellence. Chief, I appreciate you hiring me. And it's in excellent hands. Things will just continue to go forward in a wonderful direction. Trustees, it's been my pleasure. And it's working in a public profession. It's a noble career. It's a good career. It's a good career to wear your family name on your uniform and the patch on your shoulder. And you just carry that and you never let either down. That's all you simply do. So thank you for this opportunity. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
As always, I know how to clear a room, so we'll
Wait a
just take-
minute, we have one more thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Don't leave.
Just like Chief, come on now. I just thought these guys finally caught up to me, so I'm glad they were ready for his retirement. So yeah, we need to make sure we clear the room here shortly before we're done with this meeting. You know, it's not very often you come across somebody that when you meet them, you just get a sense of the person that they are and the respect that they command with their presence. And Captain Johnson has been that person for Miami Township. So we have a little proclamation from the board. Whereas Russell N. Johnson has been an employee with Miami Township Police Department since November 8, 2014. And whereas Russell N. Johnson, who served with distinction as captain with Miami Township Police Department and as a major with the Ohio State Patrol for over 36 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Miami Township and the state of Ohio, has submitted a letter of intent to retire. Whereas Russell N. Johnson has served as a dedicated law enforcement officer and mentor during his outstanding career, and whereas Russell N. Johnson's last day of employment will be Sunday, September 30th, 2018. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees wishes to publicly thank Russell N. Johnson for his exceptional and uncompromised service to the citizens of Miami Township, and we wish you a happy, healthy, and prosperous retirement from the Miami Township Police Department. Sir, congratulations.
Thank you again.
You have to stay. Charlie, you have to stay. But the rest of you, thank you for coming.
It is Bill. Isn't it? Yeah, I'll get the rest later.
Mr. President, before we get to our first resolutions, I do want to make a comment about the police department. Recently, we've had 3 high-profile cases here. One was a missing juvenile from a homicide in Riverside that had been missing for a year. We also had, unfortunately, we were pursued out of Moraine that ended up in a fatality. occurred in Miami Township, and then recently we had a homicide that occurred on Contemporary. I cannot be more proud of the men and women of our police department. The homicide we had solved within 12 hours. Even though it seems that our news media, local news media, wants to paint a picture of the crime-ridden Miami Township and Dayton Mall area, that is the farthest from the truth. But I am so proud of our department and the work they do, and I know the citizens are also that way. I just wanted to make that comment there. So for tonight's agenda, the first item is a discussion of Resolution 92-2018, and that's to appoint a tax incentive review council member and an enterprise zone manager. This is really just a housekeeping. This is to appoint Chris Snyder to take my place and Greg Rogers' place. And then Resolution 93, 2018 is to appoint a negotiating team for this enterprise zone, and that is to take Greg Hanahan's name off and Greg Rogers and place Clay McCord and myself on that. And I'm open to any questions, or Mr. Snyder can answer if you have that. If not, then I will move to Captain Johnson for anything additional from the police department.
Thank you, Board. I have nothing official for the agenda. Be happy to answer any questions.
Chief or Captain Johnson, could you address the rampant speculation that hit the internet recently about a potential abduction within Miami Township?
I'll answer that. There's a app webpage called Nextdoor, and there was a comment put on it that there was an attempted abduction of a 6-year-old out of a garage. Originally, the post said it was Grove Bell in Miamisburg, then it kind of went toward Pipestone, then it was over to Quail Run, which is in Miami Township. In checking with the city, they had nothing. I checked with us Monday, found that what had been put on social media was absolutely untrue. That and we do not know why, but this original story that came out was to the regional dispatch center that somebody tried to take this child. When our officers got there, we sent 3 officers, found out there was an hour delay from the time these people called it in, and that once the officers got there, the story changed that there was just somebody coming up the driveway. When the husband came out of the into the garage, he turned around, walked away, and got in his truck. We put out a press release today to kind of calm everybody's nerves that this did not happen. It was unfounded, and not to speculate or embellish things on social media.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mr. Dan Mayberry.
Good evening, Board. Tonight I have one item for consideration. This is a proposed legislation to update a past current resolution to address nuisances in the right-of-way and most specifically basketball goals. This new resolution is expanded to include all sporting equipment, and it also includes the ability to use limited home rule powers if necessary. And it kind of mirrors the resolution that was passed a few weeks ago for the property maintenance code, and once again stressed that their last steps in this resolution will be taken only if necessary and as the last step to the process. So by limited home rule, this resolution will have to be read twice in board meetings, and this would be the first reading of this new proposed resolution. Are there any questions to the information I have provided, or any other questions about this proposed resolution or other public works items?
Again, this will just be a first reading and introduction tonight.
Thank you.
If none, Mr. Chris Snyder.
Good evening, Board. I have no formal items for your consideration tonight, but I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Mr. Kyle Hinkleman.
Good evening, Board. I have nothing formal either for the Board this evening, but I'd be happy to address any questions you may have.
And last but not least, Mr. Clay McCord.
Good evening, Board. I, too, have nothing for you tonight, but I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Sir, I'll turn it back over to you.
Excellent. We'll now open the public comments period of the meeting. Does anybody wish to come forward and present to the board? Seeing no takers, we will close the public comments period and consider vote on resolutions.
I make a motion we approve resolution number 092-2018, a resolution to appoint a tax incentive review council member and enterprise zone manager. Therefore, be resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees appoints Christopher Schneider to serve as the TIRC member and the enterprise zone manager effective immediately.
Second. Any discussion?
No, sir.
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 093-2018, resolution to appoint Enterprise Zone negotiating team members. Whereas the Ohio Department of Development has approved Miami Township's application for a non-distress enterprise zone, and therefore be it resolved, Miami Township Board of Trustees hereby, Section 1, Section 2.
Second?
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
From point of order, do we need to read the resolution, or by introducing it for first reading, we have made it public record?
For the first reading, you just read the title of the resolution.
Okay. I will introduce Resolution 094-2018 for public consideration, a resolution to adopt an athletic or recreational apparatus public nuisance resolution, which would rescind Resolution number 10-2006.
Do I need a second?
All right, we are now,
Hold on. Do I need a second for this? Or no? Okay, all right. Mr. Morris?
aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
We will now go into the public hearing section of our meeting. I will make a motion to open zoning case number 374-05. We need a second to open the meeting.
Second?
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
Zoning case number 374-05 is now open. The following will be in the order in which the hearing will proceed. Staff will give a report. The applicant will be given an opportunity to give a presentation. Proponents and opponents will be given a chance to speak with a time limit of 3 minutes per each of the speaker. When you address the board, please give your name and address for the record. The board will close the public hearing prior to taking any final action. The board will now hear the report of the staff. Mr. Hinkleman, have the legal requirements for this hearing been met?
They have.
Do you have a recommendation from the Miami Township Zoning Commission, and would you please review your report at this time?
I do. Thank you very much. The case before you this evening is ZC 374-05, a major modification to the final development plan for the Exchange at Spring Valley, Phase F. The actual building we are talking about is located within the Exchange at Spring Valley, which is a planned development just to the east of 741 by LexisNexis and MetLife. This particular building, is just to the north of Miami Village Drive, which housed the previous Teradata and Corbis companies. It is now, currently, it houses Beacon Orthopedics. The building request that you have before you this evening is to allow additional signage on 2 wall facades, as well as to allow ground signage to be approved for an office tenant within the Exchange at Spring Valley. The applicant is requesting to have additional wall signs on the north and west facades. They are asking for a second wall sign to allow the tenant owner to have signage on the building. As you can see in the images, they are asking for a small, limited amount of signage on those walls, but currently within the Exchange at Spring Valley, we only permit 1 wall sign per wall. This is the only 2-story building currently within, or multi-story building within the Exchange at Spring Valley, and as such, the Zoning Commission as well as staff you will see is recommending to permit additional signage, wall signage on the building. They're also asking for a ground sign on at the entrance of their development. Staff worked with the applicant, and the zoning commission agreed to allow that location to be limited, but again, to have them be permitted to have ground signage, so if there are additional tenants within that building, that they can be signed on a ground sign and no additional wall signs would be permitted. So with that, the zoning commission did make a recommendation of approval in a 3-0 vote, and their recommendation stated the zoning commission finds that the proposed major modification to the final development plan complies with the standards of Article 31, Section 3104, and recommend approval of zoning case 374-05, a major modification to the final development plan for the Exchange at Spring Valley Phase F and for Land Zone PD5 Plan Mixed Use with the following stipulations. 1, the building is approved with 4 50-square-foot wall signs, 2 permitted on the west and 2 on the north facade. No other wall signs or facades are permitted to have signage. And 2, 1 ground sign is permitted at the entrance to the building or to the parking lot off of Marketplace Drive to list tenants in the building. The sign shall also meet the requirements of the Exchange at Spring Valley for a ground sign, including the design requirements as shown in the staff report. With that, if there are any questions that you have of me, I'd be happy to address them. There is a representative of the applicant here and can certainly answer any questions you may have of them.
Are there any questions for the staff?
No, sir. Thank you very much.
The applicant is welcome to address the board.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Peter Hosher. My address is 7641 East Vondette Circle, Centerville, Ohio. I'm an attorney here in Dayton, Ohio, representing the applicant and the property owner. We would just reiterate what Mr. Hinkleman said, which is this is the only 2-story building in this development presently. That it has been the corporate headquarters of Teradata, which was a single-tenant building. Now, under new ownership, the reality is there's probably going to be very little likelihood that there will be additional single tenants in this building. It's going to be a multi-tenant building. As such, to make it more marketable, it is best that we could have some additional wall signage and the monument ground sign that has been approved by the zoning commission. For that reason, we ask that you adopt the resolution. If anyone has any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer those at this time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The board will now hear from any proponents of the plan. Seeing none, the board will now hear for any opponents of the plan. Seeing none, I will make a motion to close public hearing for zoning case number 374-05.
Second?
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
I make a motion we approve resolution number 095-2018, a resolution to adopt a major modification of the final development plan for the Exchange at Spring Valley Phase F under zoning case number 374-05 for Land Zone PD5 Plan Mixed Use District. Therefore, be resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees approves the major modification of the final development plan under zoning case number 374-05 and upholds the zoning commission recommendation.
Second the motion.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
I will make a motion that we open the public hearing for zoning case number 433-18.
Second?
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
Zoning case number 433-18 is now open. The following will be the order in which the hearing will proceed. Staff will give a report. The applicant will be given an opportunity for a presentation. All proponents and opponents will be given an opportunity to speak with a time limit of 3 minutes. When you address the board, please give your name and address for the record. The board will close the public hearing prior to taking any final action. The board will now hear the report of the staff. Mr. Hinkleman, have the legal requirements for this hearing been met?
They have.
Do you have a recommendation from the Miami Township Zoning Commission, and would you please review your report at this time?
I do. Thank you very much. The case before you this evening is ZC 433-18, a major modification to the preliminary slash final development plan for Habitat Condominiums PD. The reason I state that is this is a fairly unique situation that is coming before the board this evening. The Habitat Condominium Plan Development was approved as a planned development prior to Miami Township adopting zoning in 1973. The reason that is unique is because generally if a property is rezoned into a planned development, there is a site plan and a development standards that are adopted as part of that planned development creation. As we've done with Austin Landing and many other planned developments, the Exchange at Spring Valley, there is a site plan that is approved, and then there are standards that follow that site plan. Unfortunately, when Habitat was adopted, that was prior to our zoning, and we do not have a formally adopted site plan or development standards for the Habitat condominium plan development. The applicant came forward requesting some modifications to their development, and working with them through the process, it was determined that unfortunately we are unable to approve them for those changes without going through this process to really set a baseline for their development with a site plan, a landscape plan, lighting plan, and development standards, all of which you'll see within your packets, again, to create a baseline for that understanding of what exists today and what in the future they are or are not able to do. So with that said, if you look, there is an exhibit within your packets called Exhibit A, which is the development standards, that does talk about a number of issues as we would generally through all of our planned developments. So again, just to give you that little bit of a timeline, today, unfortunately, we have no standards in place. This is the adoption of those standards. So if you're not familiar with Habitat, it is a condominium complex that is off of 741 on the northern side of the township. It is in between 741 and 75, just south of Cox Arboretum. It is a fairly large condominium complex with over 400 dwelling units and a number of amenities for the residents who live there. The site plan also has a number of private roadways that are throughout it, as well as trees, substantial tree cover, as obviously many of those trees were already there prior to their development, as well as over the last 40 years, a number of those trees that were planted at that time have obviously grown in. They have provided what in essence is a plan of existing poles. Generally what we would require for a new development would be something that shows the specs of all the lights, as well as a photometric plan that would show 6-foot candles or less for the development. Since this is, again, trying to create a baseline, they have provided a location of all the lights in their development, and if those are to be replaced, then we will go forward with requesting photometrics and other plans from them when they need to make those changes. They also have a number of signs within their development. They have entrance signs, wayfinding signs, and then they have an individual office sign, which you'll see the standards reflect, allowing them to have the signage explicitly as they have it. And again, if in the future they need to change that, there's a process for them to do so. And again, you can see a couple examples of all the signage in your packets. You'll see actually all of the signage that they have. They've also provided examples of elevations or model types within the development. Again, they have a number of models. They are not anticipating expanding the number of models. They've built out pretty much, but this would be if in the future, if they did determine there were locations they wanted to build additional, this would allow them to do so. You'll also see an Exhibit B within your packets, which does have an image of all of the elevations, which was adopted or recommended for adoption as part of the approval. And then as I stated, there is the development standards that you see within your packet, which again, lay out all of the uses, signage, and other elements to allow the applicant to get approval either under our zoning resolution or through a process through the zoning commission as a minor mod or a major mod, which would come back before you. With that said, the zoning commission did recommend approval in a 3-0 vote, and they stated the zoning commission finds that the proposed preliminary and final development plan complies with the standards of Article 31, Section 3104, and recommend approval of zoning case 433-18, a preliminary and final development plan for the Habitat Condominium PD and for Land Zone PD1 Planned Residential District with the following stipulations. 1, the development standards dated September 18th, 2018 are approved. And 2, all future development, redevelopment, and modifications to the site must be approved per the development standards as adopted. And with that, I know I went through a number of items fairly quickly. If there's any questions that you have of me, I would be happy to answer them. There are representatives of the applicant here as well who can certainly speak to any questions that you have of them.
Any questions for Mr. Hinkleman?
I don't. Thank you very much.
Would the applicant like to say anything? Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. The board will now hear from any proponents of the plan. Seeing none, the board will now hear from any opponents. Seeing none, I will make a motion to close the public hearing for zoning case number 433-18.
Second?
Any discussion?
Mr. Morse?
Oops, sorry. Go.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to note for the board, just so it's clear on the record as well, this came forward due to them wanting to make changes to their playground. So I just wanted to make sure it was clear that why they were coming forward, and this would allow them to make those changes.
Yep, okay. Mr. Morse?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve, Resolution 096-2018, a resolution to adopt a major modification to the preliminary and final development plan for the Habitat Condominium Plan Development under zoning case 433-18 for land zone PD1 Planned Residential District. Therefore, be it resolved, the Miami Township Board of Trustees approves the major modification to the preliminary and final development plan under zoning case 433-18 and upholds the zoning commission recommendation.
Second?
Any discussion?
Mr. Morse?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
Now move into elected officials' comments. Mr. Berry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Captain Johnson, been great working with you. We appreciate all you've done for the department. Also like to welcome Charlie Stiegelmeyer, looking for great things and you to carry on the tradition that has been set with Captain Johnson under the leadership of Chief Hess and Captain McGill. So we're excited to have you. We hate to lose Captain Johnson, but hopefully you get the opportunity to chase the next passion.
Mr. Culp.
I have none, thank you.
I would just like to reiterate what Mr. Berry said. You know, he's got a last name that starts with B, so he gets to talk first and steal the thunder. Captain Johnson, you will definitely be missed. And Charlie, we welcome you, and we look forward to working with you. Chief, thank you for your comments earlier, and I completely agree. The work that the police department did in each of those cases was outstanding. So,
Thank you, sir.
thank you for that. And a last reminder that I will be handling over 30,000 canned goods coming into the Dayton Mall tomorrow. And Thursday, those will all be assembled into unique structures before they're ultimately donated to the food bank. So between now and our next meeting, those structures will be built and viewed and then subsequently torn down. So now's a good time to get to the mall and check out the can construction. Should be a lot of fun, hopefully an event we can do every year. One other question, Mr. Hinkleman and or Mr. Snyder, are we short people on our zoning commission? We had 3-0 votes on both of those. Are we looking for applicants for the zoning board?
Currently on the zoning commission, we do have 6 members. The Board of Zoning Appeals, we have 4 members. Unfortunately, one of our members passed away. So we are currently accepting applications for our Board of Zoning Appeals. In the end, the fall time, we do unfortunately have a number of people who are on vacation or other reasons, but we are short of volunteers, as I'm sure many people are.
Okay, thank
So,
you. So it was just a matter of an attendance issue. We're fully staffed there. Very good, thank you. Mr. Newell?
Just what everyone else said. Thank you for your service to Miami Township. It's been an honor working with you in the short time.
We are going to move into an executive session. At the conclusion of the executive session, we will come back into the meeting, but there will be no action taken. We will simply adjourn after the executive session. So I will make a motion at 6:39 to adjourn into an executive session to consider the confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance or negotiations with political subdivisions respecting request for economic development assistance in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 121.22 subsection G subsection 8.
Second?
Any discussion?
Mr. Morse?
Aye.
Mr. Berry?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
We will move into executive session. Thank you all for coming. You're welcome to stay. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:16.